But yeah, so our candidates are lined up in alphabetical order right now by last name. So we'll start with Jack, go down the line, switch it up as usual. So the first question for Jack Chen, why do you want to be president?
Just checking my time. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so the Students' Union, I believe it's an organization that can really impact student life. It can improve it, it can work at it, it can host events, it can be the liaison between the staff and the students. Now this year I want to set the pretext that SU did a great job, but SU can do an even better job, and I believe that I can get SU to do a better job. This year some events didn't quite garner interest. This year some classes weren't actually notified on time about the different events. And also, some room representatives this year weren't engaging SU. In fact, as I talked to room representatives this year, one told me that he wouldn't be doing SU next year because lots of times SU meetings were quite boring. So I just want to get SU to be engaging again, to work at harder, and to keep SU as great as it is right now, and work even harder for better SU for you guys next year. Alright, thanks.
Elected tomorrow on Friday. I'm sure they're going to do a great job. But why I want to be president is more of a personal reason myself. When I came into grade 10 last year, I was the only person from my junior high that actually came. I knew no one except for the few kids that were in my summer school class, and I was a pretty shy kid. Old Scona welcomed me in with open arms. They helped me through it. From the first event to the last event, I made friends, and here I am today standing in front of all these people, all of you guys, speaking, opening my opinion so that I can help do the same thing for next year's student and for all of you guys that I got last year. SU is the heart of Old Scona, because without SU, it gets chaotic. And SU gets everyone going with the events. You get to meet new people. It's what makes OSA have such an amazing community, and I just want to preserve that community. Thank you.
Okay, hi guys. So I'm Jinso. So the reason why I want to be president is because for the last 2 years I've gotten the opportunity to be part of such an amazing council. And I do agree with what Rehab and Jack have already said, that it's really the heart of what brings OSA together. It's such a huge part of student life. And I honestly love being on SU. I love what it stands for, I love what we do, and I love how we bring everybody together. So I feel like if you have people who really are passionate about SU, who really care about the school, working for it, then the results are just so much better. And I also think that I have the experience, and I know while I am an SU member, I'm just like you guys. I'm there to experience the events and enjoy the OSA experience, I guess. So I think that I can give us like a great year next year, and I just really want to keep OSA as awesome as it can be, and like this year just have as much fun as we can. Thank you.
So for the next question, we're going to start with Rehab, then Jinso, and Jack. So what changes do you have planned for next year for SU and for the school?
Okay, so to point this out, I'm sure many of you know I wasn't actually in SU before, and personally I think that's a good thing, because being outside SU means I don't have the same connections to all the events and everything, and I can be just like all the other students who are in SU, and I know what I would like in the year, because not being in SU means there's sort of that gap between you and the planning of events, which means basically you understand what you want for next year. And because I didn't get this opportunity next year, if I do get elected, I know what needs to be done exactly, which is the biggest thing is getting more student input for events, because there's been a big problem with student apathy, not enough people coming to events. And the issue isn't that people don't know about the events, it's that they're not interested in them, because they're the same events going on all the time, and what we need is more students to be able to give their own input into events so that they're actually interested and show up. Thank you.
Okay, so I think SU ran pretty well this year, but there's always room for improvement. So in my platform, I also talked about some of these points. OSA has a big history of sticking with tradition. We're a very old school, as you can tell by our building. And I think staying with tradition is very important, but that shouldn't come at the cost of things becoming outdated. Because every year we get new students, it's a new demographic, it's a new set of interests. So I think we do need to get new input every year so we make sure the events are really tailored and catered to the students of that year that we're serving. As well, I think SU holds a lot of events and they're really fun, but I have heard the complaint that we've had maybe too many events because there's been a general confusion surrounding SU just because of the magnitude of events that are going on at the same time. So I do want to alleviate that by increasing communication, making sure the hype is up. Like Jenny did a great job with that this year, along with Evelyn, with posters and videos to just keep that going. And as well as just making sure that the SU that we have is the SU that the students of that year really want. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, so I'm going to offer you guys some specifics of what I want to do with SU, which is a lot. Now, a couple of things to improve student life, which is adding napkins and hopefully air freshener to the basin washrooms, because, man, I can't speak for the women, but most of paper towels and freshener would be lovely. As for the events, some events just don't garner interest, so we can look at revamping those based on student feedback. I also want to replace certain events with more physical activity, such as capture the flags events and physical activities such as sports, as SU events, because that wasn't a big theme this year. Something else that I want to do is increase communication with students, so getting feedback, getting communication within SU so that everyone is on board and everyone knows what's happening, everyone has a responsibility. And lastly, communication with staff. Because this year, SU executive met with the principals about 3 or 4 times, which is good. But I think we can meet with the staff more to work out their concerns because, as I was talking to Mrs. Ma, the staff and principals do have their vision too. So communication and bettering student life. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the final question from me. We'll start with Jinso, Jack, and Rehab. So how are you confident that you can handle this role? Because it is a pretty big role. So I guess what sorts of skills or experience do you have that make you suited to be our next president?
Okay, so well, first off, I have served on SU for 2 years, and there's a lot of stuff about SU that's inherited knowledge, not very obvious, I guess. So I think being on SU and planning events, hosting events, communicating with the admin, I have definitely the SU experience to know what needs to be done, how to get there, and just to make sure that everyone's on the same page so we can reach success within SU. As well, I have been on 2 clubs this year as an executive member, so I've led meetings, I've organized meetings, and just made sure that the clubs are together and making sure that our goals are being met. And a huge part of being SU president is leading and organizing the meetings. You are directing the union, you're delegating tasks, and you're making sure that everybody knows what's going on. And I think I already have a lot of experience in that aspect, so I do believe that I can definitely handle being SU president next year. Thank you.
So that was a great question about commitment. And commitment, that's all about work ethic. So I think I should prove to you guys that I have great work ethic. Now, just half a year ago, I started working on a math article, and a week ago it got published. Now, working on this project of mine, it wasn't exactly always fun. It was hard to keep myself motivated, but at the end of the day, it was something that I committed to. It was something that I put my mind to, and that's something I was going to give my best at. It's the same thing with SU. I decided that I was going to commit to this position a while back. I've been working at it, I finalized my plan. It's something that I truly believe in, something that I want to commit to. Something that I'll put my mind to, and something that my work ethic will shine through. Now, finally, I'm also in full IB, which means my life kind of disappeared a year ago, and I'm doing full IB again next year. So I'm fully capable of making commitment, following it out, making a plan, keeping it organized, and having everything in order. The commitment to SU is something that I would love to make, for you guys, and something that I have full confidence in undertaking. Thank you.
So the 2 main things I'm going to be touching upon that are super important in a next president that I think I bring to the table are time management and commitment. Commitment is by far the most important thing you need as a leader. To be able to prove yourself to the people you're counseling, to be able to communicate with them, and to have an environment where it's not stiff, it's not hard to communicate, to be approachable, and time management. I have tackled a full IB schedule this year, so I do think time management is something I've gotten a little bit better at. So I think that being able to work hard and meet the deadlines, because deadlines is something super important in SU also, to be able to get the event done, communicate with admin, communicate with students, get everything going and finish it by a strict time and get the best result possible. And I think I can definitely bring that to the table and give my 110%, so thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll open it up to the audience. So does anyone in here right now have any questions for our president candidates? Mark.
Thanks. So I've been hearing a lot of pretty general statements, which is cool. But what specifically sets you apart? What specifically makes you better than the other candidates?
Okay, so I guess we'll start with Jack again. Go down the line.
Okay, so specific things that set me apart. Well, for one, I'm a boy, so I guess that's I'm just mentioning all differences, because that was just a joke. So I was just trying to say all differences, but in terms of differences, I think everyone here, sitting behind me, we're all nice people, we're all hard workers, we're all very, very organized, and we would all be great people. But I think what sets me apart is, again, work ethic. I think that I can truly put my mind on something, truly give my best, and give you the best SU that you guys deserve. Now, as for work ethic, I plan things a month in ahead. I have a neat calendar. I have 2 sets of things to keep me on track. I think with SU and such a big commitment that it is, I think I can put my mind on it and truly give you guys the SU that you deserve. Thank you.
Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is work ethic. I think I do have some work ethic. I have tackled a full IB schedule and I'm planning to continue with a full IB schedule next year. So work ethic and commitment is definitely something I do and will continue to do in my daily life. To be able to start something and finish it before a deadline, get it done early to the best of my ability, get input from students, that's something super important. So I agree with Jack, work ethic is important. As well, as I mentioned before, not being in SU this year definitely gave me the chance to see from kind of sitting at a seat at the back what SU needs to work on. So as I mentioned before, something like getting more student input, getting things people are actually interested in, and I think not being in SU, although people might see that as a bad thing, did help me because now I know exactly what needs to be done next year to get other students who didn't get that opportunity or didn't get their voices heard before to be able to be listened to be able to get their voice heard, even if they're shy, even if they don't know what's going on, to put more stress on SU.
Okay, so I think what sets me apart is I'm technically the only official SU member running. So I feel like experience is actually really important because it's a lot easier to run a council if you know how it runs, if you know what it needs. Because it's great if you have all these great ideas and plans for the next year, but you need to be able to have the ability to achieve them and know how to go about that. Because a lot of SU, it's a lot of fun, but there's so much background work that goes into planning our events, that goes into advertising for our events, and just organizing SU as a whole. And I also think that I talk a lot, if you haven't noticed. Maybe a bit too much sometimes, but I do think that I'm super outgoing, so I've gotten the honor of talking to a lot of you guys here, and that's really important. Your SU president needs to connect directly to the student body, not just through room reps, not just through videos and posters, but directly. They should not just be a leader to you, they should be a friend that you can talk to, and they should first and foremost be one of your fellow Olympians, somebody you can talk to, somebody you can relate to, and somebody who's right there with you to have a great year with. Thank you.
Okay, so we have about 4 minutes left until the bell, so we can take one more question. 45 seconds to answer. Any questions? Yeah, in the back.
What do you think is the most important change that you're going to implement on our school?
Wait, let me just repeat the question real quick. So what is the one most important change you are going to make on our school next year? 45 seconds. Start with rehab, just so then Jack.
So this is going to seem pretty repetitive because I keep talking about this SU to student connectivity, but that's only because I do, like Tatiana said, think it's the one most important thing that we need to improve in this school, to be able to get more people to come to SU meetings, to actually have SU meetings that are engaging, that gets everyone to talk, to have student representatives, room representatives continuously remind their classes to come to SU meetings, to be involved in the school, to get more student input. So that's the one thing I think is more important, is student input, their involvement in SU, because SU isn't just the one council. SU is, it's the entire school. We are SU, so thank you.
So I definitely agree with what Rehab said. I think that the biggest change that I can bring to SU is making sure that the SU of next year is the SU of you guys, of that year that we're serving. That includes the incoming grade 10s, the grade 10s that will go on to be grade 11s, and us grade 11s who move on to be grade 12s. So I think the biggest thing that I can try to achieve is making sure that the SU that we have is the SU that we want for our year, as well as to make sure that this happens both from getting student input. To do that, we need to improve communication as a whole. So one idea that I did have was also clubs. Clubs are a huge aspect of OSA life, and I noticed this year that there was some disorganization just with when and where clubs were, so I want to implement a club calendar and a club schedule to say when clubs are, which room they're in, and which days they are. So stuff like that. So just improving communication as a whole so we can get the best input.
Alright, so before I answer that great question, I just want to clarify, I've actually been part of SU for 2 years. I've been an alternate room rep for 2 years, and I've actually attended a countless number of meetings. Also, as the president of UNICEF Club, I communicate about 7 to 8 times annually with SU on events, actions, and plans. So just to clarify, I have been part of SU for 2 years and have experience. Now to quickly get at her question, which is, what specific things do I have planned? And that's taking initiative. I want SU to take initiative and to be actively engaging with students. Instead of what's happening right now, which is waiting for students for feedback, which inevitably never comes, actually actively engage with students, ask them for feedback, ask for their concerns, ask for their vision. The onus is on SU, and the onus is on me, if I get elected, to communicate with students, to know what they're about, to know their concerns, and to understand them. Thank you.